Welcome, dear friend, to godly sleep, a place where your heart can finally rest. You don't have to carry the weight of the day any longer. Whatever has been pressing on your mind, the stress, the noise, the worries that seem to follow you even into the night. Here, in this quiet space, you are safe. You are seen. You are loved. Close your eyes and take a slow breath in. Feel it fill your lungs. Then gently release it as the world grows still. Let God's peace begin to wrap around you like a warm blanket. Every word you hear tonight comes from Scripture, a message of hope, comfort, and divine calm that your soul has been longing for. When you can't sleep, when the world feels heavy, when you just need a moment to breathe again, come back here. You are not alone. Thousands of hearts are listening with you tonight, resting under the same promise of peace that God gives freely to all who seek Him. Here at Godly Sleep, we believe that rest is more than just closing your eyes. It's allowing your spirit to be renewed in the presence of the one who loves you most. So find a soft place to rest. Let go of your thoughts and allow the Word of God to lead you gently into peace. If this space brings you comfort, consider subscribing and joining our growing community of believers who seek nightly peace through Scripture and reflection. Together, we're building not just a channel, but a family of faith, rest, and hope. Tonight, may you drift into sleep, knowing that you are deeply loved, perfectly held, and never alone. I sit with the book in my lap. The room is quiet. A single lamp sends a soft circle of light across the page. Outside, night settles in like a gentle, familiar blanket. Inside, the air holds the day's residue, small, sharp pieces of fatigue, a few bright sparks of joy, the dull ache that sometimes gathers at the edges. Tonight, I invite you to set those down for a while. Come as you are. I speak slowly. Each word lands without rush. This is a simple ritual, a pause placed between a busy day and a quiet night. No performance is needed. No perfect posture. No forced feeling. Just honest presence. If you are weary, come. If your mind is scattered, come. If you carry gratitude or grief, come. All of it is welcome here. Take a moment to settle. Feel the chair beneath you. Notice how the body meets support. Breathe in through the nose. Breathe out through the mouth. A steady, easy rhythm. Let shoulders soften. Allow the jaw to unclench. Hands may rest in the lap or upon the Bible. The touch of the cover is a small anchor, a reminder that words can hold us. I remind you of one thing before I read. There is no hurry. I will read slowly and with care. Each passage receives space. Each sentence can be breathed with. I will not rush forward to explanation. I will not press toward argument. The aim is mercy. The aim is rest. The aim is hope knit gently into the night. You may open the book now, or keep your eyes closed. You may whisper a name into the silence, or listen without speaking. Whatever comes is safe. If tears come, let them fall. If a small smile rises, let it be. Authenticity is the invitation. The soul does not have to pretend. The heart need not be tidy to receive comfort. Picture a small lantern placed beside you. Its flame is steady and warm. It does not scorch. It does not force light into places that are not ready. It simply shines, offering guidance and warmth. This light is the tone of the reading. Gentle, steady, honest. I will guide the reading with plain words. I will sometimes pause for breathing and reflection. Sometimes I will offer a simple image to hold. Sometimes I will invite you to rest a hand on your chest or place your palm over your own heart. These are small gestures. They help the words move from the ears to the chest. They help the mind to slow. This ritual is not a lecture. It is not a debate. It is not a call to solve everything tonight. It is a practice of opening, of listening, of allowing room for mercy, of remembering that hope can be quiet and slow. The Bible I read from has many voices. Some parts comfort like cool water. Some parts nudge like a gentle shepherd. Tonight, I let each passage be what it is. No need to wrestle with meanings. Let the words land as they will. If it helps, name one thing silently. A worry, a loss, a fear about tomorrow, a small joy. Speak that name softly in your mind and place it upon the page as if it were a pebble. The reading will hold it. The night can hold it. This is not a demand that anything change at once. It is an offering you entrust this thing to a larger kindness. For now, I read with a posture of care. My voice aims for calm. If the mind wanders, bring it back without harshness. The breath bridges the gap. Inhale and notice. Exhale and return. Repetition is a friend here. If a phrase repeats to you, let it. Let the repetition work as balm. Language can be a slow, patient healer. There is mercy here for mistakes made during the day. The past does not have to be repaired now. Mercy does not pretend. Harm did not occur. Mercy sits close to the wounded place and offers coolness. Hope does not demand certainty. Hope leans on the promise of new mornings. These are soft truths you can hold as you listen. As I turn the pages, immagini a river. The river moves steady and unhurried. Some days the current is fast. Some nights it is almost still. The reading is like dipping a hand into that water. The touch is calming. The water does not swallow. It steadies. Words become like circles, spreading outward. Each circle meets your edge and eases a little tension. The river image is simple. Let it be a tool to return to if the mind drifts. Allow space for silence when it comes. Silence after a passage is part of the reading. Let the silence breathe. Let it hold what has been heard. If a thought rises, label it gently and let it pass. If a memory returns, observe it with a kind eye. You do not have to solve it all tonight. I will sometimes paraphrase verses, never to alter their core, but to make them easy to hold. You will hear themes of gentle steadiness, of companionship in the dark, of hands that guide, and of rest that is granted to the weary. These themes are like a woven blanket. Each thread is simple. Together they keep warm. Let the weave cover you softly. If doubt arrives, notice it without shame. Doubt is a companion on many nights. It asks questions. It wonders about worth and meaning. The reading does not force answers. Instead, it offers presence. Presence is deeper than proof. Presence is a quiet hand. Presence is a steady light. Let presence meet doubt. Sometimes the night carries regret. When regret appears, give it a place to sit. Speak its name in a whisper, if needed. Regret does not erase the small good things that also happened. There is room for both the ache and the gratitude. Allow both to exist together. The reading invites balance, not erasure. If sleep wants to arrive, follow it gently. There is no need to stay awake for the whole reading. The ritual is generous. It permits rest. If consciousness drifts, trust that the night will carry what you need. I will continue to read with steady warmth. The words will go on like a lighthouse beam across the sea. Some may not register now. They may reach deeper in the morning. If you carry a particular request to the reading, hold it silently now. Picture it like a letter placed at the foot of a window. The moonlight does not read it for you. It simply sits there, illuminated and seen. Let the reading be the window that sets a calm light upon that letter. It does not promise immediate answers. It does promise that the need is seen and not forgotten. I will not fill the time with heavy doctrine or long arguments. This is not a class. It is a bedside companion. The Bible passages selected for tonight are chosen to soothe, to remind, and to steady. Each passage will be read slowly. Each passage will be allowed to breathe between them. I will leave space to reflect and to rest. There may be moments when a phrase feels like a small door opening. Step through that door if you wish. Move into the image offered by the words. See the light. Feel the cool water. Hear the steady voice that speaks calm. These images are simple tools. They are not tests. Use them as you need. If you feel cold or restless, adjust gently. Move a blanket over the knees. Shift the pillow. Comfort is practical. The body is meant to be tended. The soul finds it easier to listen when the body can relax. Small acts of care count. As I read, know that this is a shared space. You are not alone in the listening. Many nights, many hearts gather like this. A quiet companionship grows. It is not loud. It is not crowded. It is the sense that others are choosing rest too. That is a subtle comfort. When the reading finishes, we will not rush into the day again. There will be a small closing, a quiet invitation to keep the peace gathered tonight and to carry it gently into sleep. The closing will be brief and tender. It will not demand a sudden change. It will simply remind the heart of what was held during the reading. For now, breathe with me. Inhale slowly. Feel the lungs expand. Exhale fully. Let the breath slow a little more. Place a hand over the heart if that feels good. Feel the rise and fall. Notice the pulse. Steady and sure. This pulse is a sign of life and grace. It moves quietly, without fanfare, I am ready when you are. There is nothing to prove. No task remains except to listen. Open the book, if that is your wish. Or keep your eyes closed and let the voice be your guide. The lamp beside you will hold the page. The night will hold the rest. I will hold the reading with care. When you feel ready, let the first passage find its way to you. Let it be a small lamp for the evening. Let the words sit like warm stones along the riverbank. We begin now. Together, in a slow, steady rhythm. The night is wide. The heart is safe. The reading begins. I sit back and fold my hands over the book for a moment. The lamp hums softly. The room keeps its gentle hush. Before I begin, a small note for those who return to this quiet space. If this evening helps you, consider coming again. Tell someone you trust. Leave a small sign that this rest is possible. A simple act of sharing can gather others into the same calm. Comment if you like. Subscribe if you want this quiet to come more often. These are tiny invitations. Nothing urgent. They are simply ways to build a gentle community of care. Tonight, I set the Bible between us, like a steady companion. This book is old and lived. It knows long nights and tender mornings. It has carried people through small griefs and great changes. I reach for it now to seek a presence that has never left. The pages feel familiar beneath my fingers. The words will move slowly. They will not hurry anyone out of the dark. They only promise company. I place my palm on the cover, and I breathe. The room seems to slow with the breath. As the breaths lengthen, the edge of the day softens. I invite you to do the same. Lay a hand where it feels natural across the chest, over the belly, or simply folded together. The contact is a small sign of being held. Feel the rise and fall. Let the rhythm steady the mind. I name the first image for tonight, a shelter. The word is simple. It does not make a large claim. It suggests a place to arrive, a roof, a wall, a warmth. It suggests safety enough to rest. I read to you now a line from a psalm. Softened for listening, God is our refuge and our strength. Always near when we face trouble. These words are not a promise that trouble will vanish. They are a promise of a presence who meets us in it. Imagine a house at night. The wind moves over the roof, but the inside keeps a different weather. A lamp is lit. The air is quieter. A chair by the window holds a person who has walked all day and set down a small, heavy sack. The sack dents the chair cushion briefly and then stays there. Resting. That room does not erase the outside storm. It simply offers a place where the storm has less authority. The house is a shelter. The psalm becomes that house. I read slowly, savoring each phrase as if laying one stone at a time. A refuge suggests rest. Yes, strength suggests support that is patient and steady. Presence suggests not absence but company. These are small words with large comfort. Let one land and settle on whatever feels heavy tonight. If worry presses at the throat, place that worry on the page, like a folded note. The act is quiet. It is not dramatic. It is simply practical. Set the thought upon the Bible. The gesture is not a magic trick. It is a physical way to say, I bring this here for a moment. The reading will hold it. The night will hold it. Try it now if it helps. I bring forward a soft image of shelter that does not exclude what is real. Picture a tree with wide branches. Rain falls. The branches dip and the leaves tremble. Under the tree, a small space stays drier. A bird can sit and ruffle its feathers. The tree does not stop the rain. It simply changes how the rain feels for the bird below. This is the kind of shelter I mean. It alters the shape of suffering without denying it. Let the body feel the shelter. Press a hand to the chest. Sense a shadow of steadiness there. Hear a slow heartbeat. Each beat counts as a witness. It says, you are alive. This too is part of your path. The presence I read about is like that heartbeat, quiet, reliable, patient. It does not shout. It simply keeps time with you. I speak the verse again, not as a slogan, but as an image you can return to. God is present. God is near. God is able to hold trouble without being overwhelmed by it. This closeness is like warmth at the edge of cold. It is not a removal of the chill, but a counterpoint that makes rest possible. If you feel skeptical, that is okay. Doubt does not disqualify you from sitting here. Doubt can sit beside the shelter like a guest who asks questions. Let it be. Invite the question to observe the calm without having to solve the mystery. Presence does not require perfect belief. It asks for openness to be held. Slowly, I pause between phrases. Silence is part of the shelter too. Let the quiet here be an extension of the refuge. In the silence, notice the soft sounds, the lamp's low breath, the small shift of air, perhaps distant traffic like an ocean far away. These sounds remind us that the world continues. They also remind us that we are not isolated from life's movement. The shelter is woven into that movement. The idea of strength in the verse is gentle. Strength is not loud force in this context. It is faithful support. It is a hand under the elbow when the step is shaky. It is a steady foot beside yours on a long path. Visualize strength as a low, broad foundation rather than as a towering wall. Foundations do not call attention. They simply hold things together. Let that sense of holding sit under your shoulders. I invite a small breathing practice. Now, inhale 4 counts. Hold 2 counts. Exhale 6 counts. Repeat this 3 times. With each exhale, imagine the breath placing a pebble gently into a small bowl. The bowl is the shelter. Pebbles gather without clatter. Each pebble is a thought. A hard day. A worry. A grief. They do not disappear, but they rest in a place that keeps them from tumbling. Breathe and place. Breathe and place. As the pebbles settle, notice any relief that comes. Even a small easing is enough. Mercy is often small. It is a cool cloth on fevered skin. Not a grand cure. This reading aims for that small mercy. It aims to steady and to remind. The psalm also speaks a quiet truth about trouble. It does not promise immunity. Instead, it confirms reality and offers company. This is vital. So much of life's pain is not solved by platitudes. The shelter acknowledges the ache. It holds it as something real and still manageable in the presence of a constant companion. I sometimes describe God with images that are human-sized doors. Hearths. Rooms because large abstractions can feel remote. The Psalm's words feel nearer when pictured in the home of the imagination. Think of a simple doorway you can step through. On the other side, the air is a little different. Light has a softer edge. The step itself is small. The act of entering is accessible. You do not need to have everything in order to cross the threshold. You simply need to step. If sleep nudges you, allow it. The shelter welcomes rest. If the mind wants to linger, that is welcome too. The reading is long enough and patient enough to hold both. There is no timetable to meet. The rhythm of the words is like a slow tide. It draws near and recedes. Trust it. I also offer a brief invitation to remember a time when shelter felt real. Even briefly. A friend's hand in a hard moment. A quiet room after a long journey. A meal that warmed more than the body. Let that memory be small and true. Hold it for a breath or two. Let it remind the heart that being held is possible, and sometimes it arrives in the simplest shapes. As I close this section of the reading, I rest a finger on the page. The verse remains there like a small lamp left on a table. You can return to it always. The shelter of God is not a one-time provision. It is an ongoing presence that can be called upon again and again. Keep the image close tonight. Let it steady the shoulders and quiet the thoughts. In a moment, I will turn the page and continue. The pace will remain slow. The voice will remain soft. If your eyelids are heavy, that is good. If your mind needs more time, take it. The next passage will speak of guidance and gentle leading, and it will follow the same steady care. For now, breathe. Place another pebble in the bowl if that helps. Rest a hand over your heart and feel the steady beat. This is enough for now. I close this brief portion with intention. The words have been an offering. They are not commands. They are an invitation to lean into a shelter that meets pain and presence together. When you are ready, we will continue into the next quiet passage. For now, linger here in the calm, and let the shelter do what it can in the night. I turn the next page with a quiet hand. The lamp keeps its small circle of light. The air is still. Tonight's passage is an invitation. It asks for a gentle movement toward rest. The words offer a place to lay down heavy things without hurry. I read them slowly, letting each phrase become an invitation rather than an order. Come to me. It says in a soft way. Those 3 words are an open door. They do not demand first steps of proof or lists of achievements. They call out to the weary. They call out to the bowed. They invite the one who carries a weight too large for the shoulders tonight. Imagine the voice as low and steady. Like a steady footfall on a long walk, there is no press. There is simply an offer to enter and to rest. I ask that the word be taken as a practical image. Picture a worn traveler arriving at a quiet inn. The sign above the door is unadorned. Inside, there is a bench, and a warm corner. No one asks about the road the traveler took. The only thing offered is a place to sit and a cup of cool water. That is what the invitation feels like. It is close and immediate. It is appropriate for the moment you are in now. Rest here is not only falling asleep. It begins there, and it goes deeper. It is a kind of settling of the heart that allows muscles to loosen and mind to unfold. Imagine a chest that has been braced for a long time finally releasing. The shoulders drop. The breath becomes longer and more even. That is the rest promised in these quiet lines. It creeps into the spaces between thoughts. It makes room for gentleness. As I read, picture a small room beside a river. The water moves without hurry. The river's sound is steady and soft. A chair sits by the window. The traveler sets down a heavy pack. It makes a dull sound on the floor, and then it rests. The pack does not vanish. It is simple. The weight is placed somewhere safe, while the body unwinds. Let the image be a tool. Hold it if the mind fidgets. The invitation also offers an easy yoke and a light burden in its imagery. Those words mean something quiet and practical. Think of yoke as a shared load, not a forced chain. Two hands carrying the same plank together feel easier than one alone. The burden becomes lighter because someone else takes part of it. The promise is companionship in the work, not removal of effort altogether. That companionship makes rest possible between tasks and beside a steady presence. I guide a slow breathing exercise now, one that matches the pace of the words. Breathe in gently for 4 counts. Hold for 3 counts. Exhale for 6 counts. Repeat 3 times. With each inhale, feel a soft support arriving at the chest. With each exhale, imagine a small portion of tension leaving the body. Let the shoulders soften further on every out-breath. Allow the jaw to unclench. Let the eyes grow heavy but unfurrowed. Place a hand on the chest if that feels natural. The touch is a simple reminder. It traces the rhythm of the heartbeat. Each beat is a quiet witness to what the night has brought and what it will allow to rest. The hand becomes a companion to the breath. The breath steadies the voice. The voice becomes quieter inside. The interior moves toward peace. Imagine handing a small bundle to someone you trust. The act is small. It is not an argument or a negotiation. It is a plain act. Set it down here. Please, picture that handed object as a thought, a worry, a fear about tomorrow, or a memory that pricks. Watch the fingers, let go. Notice the relief that comes from lending weight to another pair of hands. The hand that receives does not chastise. It simply accepts. The room does not demand immediate change. It simply keeps the thing safe for a while. There is a tenderness in the line about coming. It is not a stern command. It is a welcome. Think of a mother calling a child in from the cold with a soft tone. The call is patient and certain. The child does not need a written proof to return. The voice remembers what the child cannot. Rest is allowed before competence returns. This tenderness invites the heart to fold inward and find steadiness again. If the mind resists the invitation, that resistance has room too. Rest is not a prize for the faithful only. Doubt and weariness can step into the room together. They sit side by side like two tired travelers sharing a bench. The invitation is not withdrawn when questions come. It remains a steady presence. Notice the steadiness. Let the presence be steady enough to receive questioning. The safety here is wide enough to include uncertainty. I offer another small image now. Imagine lying in a hammock between two old trees. The hammock rocks gently with the evening breeze. The spine lengthens and then relaxes. The body is supported in an even line. There is no need to hold tension against the rope. The hammock gives. Let the mind feel the ease of being supported. Let the tendons and muscles accustom themselves to rest. The idea of learning from a gentle teacher appears in the passage. The teacher is not harsh. The teacher invites close observation and calm imitation. Think of someone showing how to hold a sewing needle with a steady finger, guiding each movement with patience. The learner notices the careful pace and then copies it. In the same way, the reading suggests taking the rhythm of the teacher into the chest, learning gentleness by moving with it. Practice patience by modeling it in small daily breaths. A brief guided movement can help this learning. Slowly roll the shoulders back and down. Unclench each fist slowly. Let the neck tilt just a little to the right, then to the left. Each movement is small and deliberate. They are not exercises for performance. They are invitations for the body to remember how to relax. The memory of rest can be retrained gently. Peace in this passage is not a quick fix. It is a steadying current that moves beneath daily worry. Imagine a lantern hung low in a room. Its light is soft. It does not flood the entire space, but it offers enough to find a warm cup and a blanket. Peace functions like that. Lantern. It does not erase all noise. It makes a small corner of calm possible. Rest spreads from that corner into larger areas over time. Let a short visualization carry the rest deeper. Picture a small boat with a soft cushion inside. The boat drifts on quiet water toward a shore that is easy to step onto. The water keeps its rhythm. The oars rest. The traveler feels no need to row. The shore does not require a perfect arrival. It receives anyone who comes. The boat is an image of the present moment. The shore is rest. If heavy memories surface while listening, allow them a seat without letting them lead the night. Acknowledge them mildly. This came. That is true. Then return the attention to the slow breath and the steady lamp. The breath acts as a threshold between the mind and the memory. Use it to step gently back into the present. The reading continues at a soft pace. The voice eases. I let silence happen between sentences. Those silences are not empty. They are the space in which rest deepens. In the quiet, the lungs expand a little more. The muscles hold less. The thought patterns loosen like old knots, gradually unfurling. I sometimes invite a small ritual to close each portion of the reading. Tonight's ritual is simple. With eyes closed or softly focused, place both hands over the belly. Breathe slowly twice. Visualize warmth pooling there like a calm fire. Imagine the warmth spreading upward to the chest and outward to both shoulders. Let it tilt the body toward relaxation. Sit with that warmth for 3 breaths. Acknowledge the small change. It is enough as the segment moves toward a close. Consider how rest will be carried into sleep. Make a small practical plan. Adjust a pillow. Smooth a blanket. Let the night air be neither too cool nor too warm. Small physical comforts help make room for inner peace. The body is part of the work of resting. Tending it is not vain. It is faithful. There is a quiet invitation to turn worries into whispered requests. Speak them softly to the space, as if placing notes on a windowsill. The moonlight may not answer, but it will make the notes visible. The act of naming is a relief. It transfers weight from mind to paper, from clenched thought to a softer place. Doing this once can be a gentle ceremony to mark the beginning of rest. I end this portion by reminding us all of the simple promise within the invitation. Rest is near. It is not always instantaneous, but it is accessible. It comes when a weary heart steps toward a steady presence. It arrives in small shapes, a slowed breath, a hand on a chest, a hammock's tilt, a boat drifting softly. Let those small shapes be enough tonight. When ready, remain here a little longer in the quiet. Let the lamp keep the page. Let the breath keep its measured rhythm. If sleep arrives sooner than the next page, accept it. The reading holds no impatience. If wakefulness stays, the next section will come as another soft invitation, another steady hand. For now, carry the image of the hammock, the lantern, the boat. Breathe with them. Rest into the ease they model. I close this segment with a slow exhale and a calm intention. The voice lowers. The room keeps its gentle hush. The night receives the rest. The heart, however weary, finds a place to settle. When you are ready, we will continue, moving forward at a slow, steady pace into more quiet words that will guide the next part of the night. I turn the page with a careful finger. The lamp keeps its steady ring of light. The room breathes with me. My voice moves slow and even. Tonight I linger on two gentle truths. First, that peace is given to the weary. Second, that forgiveness is a kindly work we can begin tonight. The Bible I read from offers rest as a gift. It is not a task to earn. It is a hand offered when the shoulders ache. I say this softly, because many arrive here heavy. The day has pressed. The mind has lists. The heart carries small injuries and large ones. In this space, I remind us that we are known. The knowing is tender. It does not expose or shame. It simply sees. Imagine standing by a quiet shore at twilight. The waves come and go without hurry. A weight sits at the feet like a small sack. The waves do not make the sack vanish, but they soften the edges where it rests. The scene is not miraculous. It is ordinary comfort. It is enough sometimes. God's peace arrives in that ordinary way. It meets the worn body. It learns the shape of the wound. It offers rest that fits the particular hurt. I read passages that hold this promise. I do not urge you to solve every problem now. I do not demand perfect faith. The invitation is simpler. It is a reminder you are beloved. You are understood. You are invited to breathe and lay down what weighs too much. Let that sink in like warmth through a thin sweater. Rest comes with assurance. That assurance is not a quick fix. It is a steady presence. It is like a roof over a small porch during rain. The porch does not stop the storm. It gives a dry place to sit and drink something warm. Feel that image. Allow the body to accept a small relief. Let the shoulders drop a fraction. Let the jaw ease. Now I turn gently to forgiveness. I speak here not as a teacher delivering doctrine, but as someone guiding a quiet practice. The line from Colossians invites a kind tenderness. Forgive as you have been forgiven. The sentence itself feels like a soft command. It asks for a mirror held to the heart. It asks us to remember how we have been treated when we consider how to treat others. Forgiveness is not forgetting. It is not pretending harm never happened. It is not an eraser that removes history. Instead, it is a gentle reshaping of what the injury holds inside the chest. Picture an old quilt. Some patches are worn. Mending does not remove the marks of use. It stitches them into the hole. The quilt becomes warmer for the mending. That is forgiveness. It makes room for the past and creates a new pattern that can hold warmth. When I read about forgiveness, I think of hands. Open hands feel lighter than clenched fists. Holding tight requires energy. Releasing frees it. Imagine holding a small stone in the palm. The fingers tense and the arm tires. Set the stone down. Notice the change. That is not weakness. It is a practical action. The body relaxes. The mind can change gear. I offer a small exercise now. It is simple and soft. Close the eyes if that helps. Take a breath in for 4 counts. Hold for 2. Exhale for 6. Do this twice more. With each out-breath, imagine setting down a stone. Name the stone if needed: an offense, a regret, an expectation. Place each named stone into a bowl beside you. See the bowl. Accept the stones without judgment. The bowl is steady. It is willing to hold them for a while. Forgiveness often feels like a long task. It tends to come slowly. It starts with small acts. A short prayer. A quiet decision not to rehearse the hurt. A choice to speak gently in a small moment, rather than escalate. These are not grand. They are faithful. They are seeds that grow over time. I also speak frankly that forgiveness is easier to imagine than to do. Some hurts are deep. Some betrayals cut wide. There is no pressure to force an immediate, sweeping forgiveness. The practice can begin with one tiny motion, a willingness to stop sharpening resentment into a weapon. That willingness is itself an offering. It changes the atmosphere around the wound. One useful image is of a river carrying leaves. Imagine slipping a leaf onto the current. The leaf does not vanish. It moves with the flow. Over time it reaches places unseen. When you forgive, you place what has hurt you onto a current you did not have to create. You trust that the movement will alter the weight that has sat on your heart. Another small ritual may help. Take a scrap of paper. On it, quietly write a name or a memory that holds sting. If writing feels too loud, whisper the name into the palm instead. Fold the paper and place it on a windowsill. Let the moonlight touch it. This act is simple and symbolic. It does not erase the injury. It shifts part of its energy out of the mind and into a small, visible place. The visible place can be a witness that the burden is being tended. Forgiveness also tends to return something to the forgiver. It is a relief that surprises the body. Held in tension by anger, loosens. Sleep comes easier. Appetite softens. The little knotted places around the ribs uncoils a bit. That is practical mercy. It shows up in daily ways. The heart remembers that rest exists. I like to think of forgiveness as mending with light thread. The needle works slowly. Each stitch is careful and exact. The seam does not pretend the cloth never tore. It takes time to make the repair strong. The repair need not be hidden. It can be visible and beautiful. The same is true between people. Forgiveness can create a new pattern of relationship. Sometimes it leads to reconciliation. Sometimes it does not. Either path can be blessed with peace. There is also a tenderness in the reminder that we ourselves have received forgiveness. Holding that in mind changes the posture of the heart. Remembering a kindness given when unworthy teaches the soul how to be merciful. I imbibe a geared memory now. Think of a time someone showed you grace you did not expect. Let that image come as a warm light in the chest. Rest in it for a breath or two. Hold that warmth like a small lamp. If anger or fear rises while listening, rename it gently. Say to it, "This is here." Then return the attention to the breath. The breath is a steady gauge. It measures out the moment in small, salvageable pieces. You do not have to eradicate the feeling. You only need to notice it and allow calm to counterbalance it bit by bit. Forgiveness sometimes requires boundaries. Saying no is not the enemy of mercy. In certain cases, kindness includes setting clear limits. Forgiveness and protection can travel together like two companions on a road. You can forgive and still choose wisely for the future. That wisdom is part of a tender stewardship of self and others. Now, a brief practice to shape the heart toward mercy. Place a hand over the sternum. Breathe slowly 4 counts in. Hold 2. Out 6. As the chest rises, imagine drawing in patience. As it falls, imagine releasing a grievance. Repeat this a few times. Let the motion steady the heart. Let the rhythm teach forgiveness as a breath, not a feat. I read the line from Colossians again in a gentle paraphrase. Bear with one another and forgive one another as you have been forgiven. The image is not harsh. It is like walking alongside someone who stumbles. You do not yoke them to your back. You offer a hand. You steady them and help them find their step. That is the tone of forgiveness I want to hold tonight near. Practical. Patient. If reconciliation is not possible, choose the kindest path available for your heart. Release what you can. Tend what you must. Forgiveness does not demand reconciliation to be real. It asks for a posture of mercy that begins inside the chest. I offer a closing practice for this part. Imagine a small garden bed at dusk. In your hand is a trowel. Plant a small seed labeled rest. Cover it gently. Water it with a single cup of intention. The seed is your forgiveness practice. You water it each day with small acts, breath, a kind word, an honest boundary. Over time, a small plant rises. It does not solve everything, but it shades some of the hurt. It bears little leaves of peace. As I ease toward the end of this segment, let the breathing slow further. Breathe in 4. Hold 1. Exhale 8. Let the exhale be long and soft. Feel a weight lightening. The lamp still glows. The book rests in my lap. The room keeps its hush. Forgiveness is a gift to give and to receive. It is a practice that brings rest. It is not quick. It is not shallow. It tends the heart like a gardener tends a plot. If tonight begins that tending, then the night has been kind to you. When you are ready, stay a while in the calm. Let the images settle. If sleep comes, lid it. If wakefulness remains, permit it the company of slow breathing and soft images. I will turn the page eventually, but not yet. For now, hold this quiet work close. Let mercy and rest sit together like two friends, keeping watch. The night is wide and patient. The heart can learn to be patient. 2. I breathe in the quiet of the room. The lamp keeps its soft circle. The Bible rests open in my lap. Tonight, I move from forgiveness toward another small mercy. I speak of grace. I speak about the way grace can settle into the places that still ache. Ephesians 2:8 sits in the mind like a plane. Steady brick. By grace you have been saved. Through faith, the line is simple. It is not a sharp argument. It is a gentle reminder. Grace comes first. Faith receives. Nothing needs to be perfected before the offering arrives. I read that truth slowly. Let it rest like a warm weight on the chest. The idea that something good comes as a gift is an odd comfort. The world often tells us worth is earned. The verse says worth is given. Let that difference breathe into the night. Many carry a ledger in their head, a list of failures, a tally of missed chances. It feels sensible to keep score. The list whispers that rest is conditional. Now imagine setting the ledger down, not because the past is erased, but because mercy offers another account. Grace does not justify mistakes by ignoring them. It changes their hold on the heart. Self-forgiveness is the small work that follows. It begins not with grand declarations, but with tiny acts. A hand placed on the sternum, a slow breath, a quiet naming this is hard. This was real. And yet this too is not the last word. The rhythm of such naming helps. It tells the nervous system something true and kind. I offer a short practice. Close your eyes if that feels safe. Breathe in for 4 counts. Hold for 2. Breathe out for 6 counts. With each out-breath, imagine drawing a thin ribbon of light around a small part of the chest. The ribbon is labeled grace. Let it loop once. Let it rest. Repeat the breath 3 times. The motion is not dramatic. It is steady. The ribbon does a small work. It marks the space as tended. Grace often feels too large or too foreign at first. It can be resisted, because it seems to cheapen effort. Grace does not cancel effort. It changes the posture toward effort. Work becomes a response, not an attempt to earn a place. This shift is like moving from carrying wood to stacking it beside a fire that is already warm. The wood is useful. The warmth is given. Think of a small room with a low table. On the table sits a cup of tea that someone has already brewed. The cup is warm. The steam curls. You did not have to make it to receive it. You may still wash the cup later. You may still learn to brew. For the moment, you accept the warmth. This is what grace feels like. It is a kind offering to rest beside. Part of accepting grace is learning to stop arguing with it. The mind will raise objections. It will say this is too easy, or I do not deserve it. Or what if I accept and nothing changes? Let those objections be noticed like weather on the window. They pass. The simple act is to accept the cup. Hold it. Feel the steam. Notice its effect. Self-forgiveness often needs permission. Permission can be formal or small. A short ritual helps. Take a pen. On a scrap of paper, write a sentence that names the burden. Keep the line short. Fold the paper once. Place it under the pillow or beside the bed. This act is not dramatic. It is a witness. It tells the night that the thing has been seen. It tells grace that there is a place to rest the burden. Another image helps when the past feels loud. Picture a wide field at dawn. Light resists slowly. The field is not empty. There are footprints. They cross and recross. The field does not erase them. The light simply reveals that you walked and that you kept moving. The footprints do not imprison you. They become a map for where care is needed next. Grace is the soft warmth that fills the gaps between steps. When the heart resists its own forgiveness, it may be because shame feels safer. Shame keeps things neat by blaming. Grace invites complexity. It tells the whole truth and then stands under it without flinching. That stance is quiet. It looks like someone leaving a lamp lit in the hallway for you when you return late. The lamp does not ask for explanation. It just lights the way. I sometimes ask listeners to practice a forgiving sentence for themselves. Use a short phrase that is true and kind. For example, I am learning. I did my best then. I am open to change. Repeat it softly 3 times. Let the voice be low. Do not rush. The sentence will not erase history. It will simply begin to change the inner tune. Grace also opens a door toward letting go of long-held guilt. Letting go is not always dramatic. It is often a slow loosening. Picture fingers unclenching around a small stone. The hand relaxes. The stone stays where it was. Its weight does not vanish. The hand no longer bears it. The body benefits. Muscles soften. Sleep comes easier. Meals taste calmer. These are small changes, but they add up. Grace moves as those small changes. There is a relational aspect too. When self-forgiveness takes root, it becomes easier to move toward others with humility rather than shame. Humility is not collapsing. It is a clear-eyed readiness to say what is real and to accept what is offered. It allows repair without frantic insistence or defensive armor. Grace helps shape that readiness. If the mind wonders about justice, remember that accepting grace does not mean avoiding care for justice. The two can coexist. Accepting grace personally is one step. Working for rightness in the world is another. The heart that rests in grace can step forward more steady. From a place of rest, action grows less frantic and more faithful. A gentle exercise can help the heart take one practical step. Think of one small thing that could be done differently tomorrow. Not a sweeping reform. One small act, perhaps a brief apology. A short note. A practical correction. Picture doing that. Act as a simple step on a path. Then let it go for now. Trust that grace will be the ground you walk on when you take the step. Grace also teaches patience with growth. Change rarely happens in one night. People heal in seasons, not in headlines. The night itself is a teacher of pace. It moves slow. It lets things settle. So let the practice of grace be patient. Tend it daily with tiny practices of breath. A gentle sentence. A small ritual. Over time, the ground shifts beneath old habits. There is room here to call to mind one tender memory. Think of a time when undeserved kindness arrived. It might have been a quiet gesture, a door held open, a hand offered. Hold that image for a breath or two. Let it be the proof that kindness exists. Let that memory serve as evidence that grace is real and not merely an idea. If fear rises, fear of letting go, fear of being naive, place a hand over the heart and breathe with intention. Inhale 3 counts. Hold 1. Exhale 5 counts. Repeat twice. Each breath is a small covenant with the present. The breath is a way to test the reality of the gift. It is practical and grounding. As the section moves toward close, imagine a shawl laid across the shoulders. It is soft and light. Its label reads Grace. You wrap it around slowly. The fabric does not hide the body's scars. It simply warms them. Wear the shawl for a few breaths. Let the warmth sink in. Feel the relief in the shoulders. Notice how the stance softens. I will read this verse again with a gentle paraphrase. Grace arrives freely. Faith receives. Nothing needs final fixing to be welcomed. Hold that paraphrase as a small lantern. Use it when the night grows heavy or when the ledger clatters back into place. When ready, close the book for a moment and rest both palms on its cover. Feel the slight give of the binding. Let the idea of grace settle under your palms like a small foundation. Keep breathing slow, and even if sleep comes, let it arrive with the shawl on. If wakefulness stays, let the lamp be a companion, and the rhythm of the breath be your steady friend. I will continue soon. The next passage will move toward hope and a quiet assurance that mornings come. For now, accept the smallness of this gift. Let grace do its slow work. Let forgiveness include yourself tonight. Let rest feel possible again. The lamp dims only in the imagination. The room remains tender. The book closes as a small ritual. Keep the shawl near. Keep the breath as a witness. Rest gently. I sit with the book open. The lamp sends a small, steady light across the pages. Night presses soft around the windows. My voice moves low and slow. Tonight, I let hope speak in a whisper. I read a line that sits like a warm promise. The God of hope fills with joy and peace when trust rests in him. I do not deliver it as a lecture. I offer it as a small benediction. I let the words fall like quiet rain. They land easily. They do not batter the mind. They ease it. Night is the place where whispers find room. The day is full of shouts, lists, appointments, bright screens. The demands of one more errand, these voices use a loud register. But the night opens a different ear. When the world lowers its volume, a softer voice can be heard. Hope does not always need an alarm. It sometimes comes as a careful murmur at the edge of sleep. Imagine the whisper as a thin thread of light. It slides under a door and rests on the floor. It is not a flare. It is a small line that will not blind. It will not erase the darkness all at once. It will, however, outline a step. That line is enough to guide a foot toward rest. Hold that image now. Let the light be slight and sure. The whisper finds small spaces. It visits the hollow behind the breastbone. It sits on the shelf where the day left its worries. It hangs like a faint bell in the chest, ringing once and quieting. I invite a stillness to let that bell sound. Close the eyes if that helps. Breathe in gently. Breathe out with a long, soft sigh. Let the breath be an opening for the whisper to come in. Fear often feels large at night. It grows shadows on the walls. It sharpens what is uncertain. The whisper does not argue with that fear. It leans in and speaks a different truth. The whisper says that joy can be small at first. The whisper says peace can feel like a single good night instead of a whole lifetime healed. It offers a different scale. That smaller scale is practical. It is reachable. Try this short practice with me. Place a hand over the heart. Keep it light. Breathe in 4 counts. Hold for 2. Breathe out for 6. Do this 3 times. With each out-breath, imagine the whisper arriving like a cool breeze through a narrow crack. It slides under the ribs. It brushes the worn places. It carries a single phrase without weight. There is hope. Say the phrase in your mind once on the last exhale. Do not argue with it. Let it sit. Hope sometimes acts like a small seed. It does not explode into a tree overnight. It asks for patient tending. Picture a tiny seed in your palm. It is no larger than a thought. It looks unremarkable. Set it on the soil of your breath. Each quiet inhale is a covering. Each slow exhale is a gentle press. You do not need to hurry the sprout. Just tend it with consistent, unhurried breath. If fear tightens the throat, let it speak for one breath. Name it softly: fear of tomorrow, fear of failure, fear of being alone. Give it a single sentence, not a story. Then place that sentence beside the seed. It does not vanish. It settles. The seed remains. Over time, the seed and the name fear share the same small space. They do not cancel each other. They grow into different shapes that can coexist. There is a curious courage in tiny hope. It asks for less than a revolution. It asks for a readiness to notice one small good thing tomorrow. It asks for a willingness to try breathing again. This is not minimalism of spirit. It is wise economy. Big changes often begin with modest steps. The whisper tends those steps. I read another line quietly. May the God of hope fill you with joy and peace. The line is not a forceful command. It is a tender promise that can be received or set aside without shame. Receive it as you would a cup of herbal tea. It does not erase hunger, but it soothes the stomach for a while. Let the warmth spread. A small visualization helps the chest accept this warmth. Picture a shallow bowl beside you. It contains warm water and a single white pebble. Diepe Finger in. Notice the water's temperature. Place the pebble into the heart of the bowl. The pebble is hope. The water is the breath. Watch the pebble sink and rest. The bowl does not change the pebble into gold. It holds it still. That steadiness is mercy. Sometimes hope arrives as memory. Think of one small moment that once brought a private, quiet joy, a hand clasped, a simple laugh, a phrase that felt like kindness. Let that moment come without forcing it. Hold it in the mind for 3 slow breaths. Do not analyze. Let the memory be a small proof that joy is possible. If no memory comes now, do not worry. The whisper can plant a new seed. Hope also has a way of reframing fear into something companionable. Instead of letting fear be the boss of the night, picture it as a fellow traveler on a long road. You walk beside it. Both carry light. The whisper hands you a lamp and asks you to share the view. You do not need to carry fear alone. The lamp does not remove the distance that still lies ahead. It makes the path visible in manageable steps. A short ritual might help to make this sharing practical. Take 3 breaths. On the first, imagine inhaling trust. On the second, imagine inhaling a small joy. On the third, imagine inhaling a gentle peace. With each inhale, tuck a hand softly into a pocket near the heart. Curl the fingers slightly, as if holding the seed. On the exhale, release the fingers and imagine the seed settling into a safe pocket in the night. It stays there until morning. Hope in the night also chooses a tone. It is patient. It treats the soul like a tired child. It speaks in simple promises. Morning comes. Light arrives in stages. You will rise, and the body will respond, because the night is long. Hope does not run. It waits and moves with small, steady gestuures, trusting that gentleness is itself a practice. It trains the nervous system not to skitter, but to settle. If rest still feels distant, shift attention to small, reliable facts. Feel the weight of the body in the chair. Notice the steady beat under the hand. Observe the slow, regular whisper of the lamp's bulb. Small facts are anchors. They are real and immediate. Hope does not need to rest on speculation. It can sit on what is tangible and small. Sometimes, waking thoughts press like little birds at the window. They flutter and clatter at the glass. The whisper is the hand that opens the window, a crack, and lets them leave without argument. Imagine opening the window slightly and watching the birds drift outside into the wide dark. The house remains safe. The noise diminishes. The whisper stands by the sill and smiles. Do not mistake a whisper for insignificance. Small things can be potent. A single ember can rekindle a hearth. A single soft word can steady a spiraling thought. Hope's whisper teaches economy of grace. It asks the heart to accept one small kindness and to test its effect. Often, that acceptance is enough to shift the night's temperature. If the mind reaches toward certainty and demands a full answer tonight, allow it to rest in the small. Certainty will not always be present at once. Begin with a modest claim. Tomorrow may bring one kind moment. Hold that possibility loosely. It is a seed of hope, not a promise of a solved life. Smallness is not failure. It is realism that trusts in patient growth. I invite one more brief practice. Lie back or loosen the shoulders. Place both palms lightly over the lower ribs. Breathe slowly. As the breath comes in, imagine the whisper entering through the crown and sliding down like soft rain. As the breath goes out, imagine that whisper settling in the ribs, making small rooms of warmth. Repeat this for 5 slow breaths. Let the words of Romans rest under the palms as a quiet benediction. Before I close this part, I offer a simple blessing. I speak it in the stillness. Quietly and without ceremony, may the God of hope fill with joy and peace as trust grows. Receive it as you would a single warm blanket. Wrap it gently. Keep it near the chest. It does not erase what is hard. It makes the weight easier to carry. For 1 more hour. The lamp remains low. The pages are warm between my hands. If sleep comes, let it arrive with a whisper tucked inside the dream. If wakefulness stays, keep breathing and listening. The night is a generous host. It allows both the fear and the filament of hope to exist together until morning draws near. I close the book softly for a moment and rest my hands on the cover. The whisper is not a task to be completed. It is a companion to be learned. Take tonight's small lamp and set it where the hand can reach in the dark. When morning comes, we will see what grows from this quiet tending. For now, keep the whisper with you and let sleep find its way in. One slow breath at a time. I open the book again. The lamp paints the edges of the page. The room breathes slow. Tonight, I dare to walk with 2 ancient friends. Their nights are long and honest. Their stories are not tidy. They are close to the shape of our own. David sits not as a polished king in a palace right now. He sits as a man who knows nights. He knows the sound of footsteps that make the heart quicken. He knows the cold of a cave and the ache of being pursued. He knows the loneliness of a chair by the hearth when people have gone to bed without a word. In the Bible, his voice comes as songs. They are not triumphal always. Many are thin with grief. Many are raw with longing. I read those songs softly. They are full of simple phrases that name fear and longing. They name betrayal. They name joy. They name trust. They offer no glossy finish. They leave the rough places visible. They show a person who does not hide. That honesty is a gift. Job comes after in a different cadence. He is a figure who loses almost everything. The world that seemed secure collapses like a small card house. His children, his wealth, his health, the people he loved. In the story, friends come and say things that feel like more weight. The whole sky seems heavy with questions. Job does not tidy his grief into acceptable piety. He rips open the room of his heart and speaks plainly. He wondert aloud. He asks why. He laments. He stays real. Both David and Job give permission. They give a permission I use here now. They allow the night to hold a loud, clumsy human voice. They let sorrow sit beside praise. They show that faith and pain can live in the same chest. This is the kind of companionship I read for you. I do not explain their theology. I do not tidy their questions. I offer their songs and their cries as maps. These maps show routes through loneliness. They show how honesty becomes a doorway to a steady presence if the night presses close. Their company is practical. They show how to speak without ceremony. They teach how to bring what is raw to the book and to the quiet. Picture David with a small harp. The strings are not always whole. Sometimes a finger plucks a note that shivers with tears. Other times the melody is bright, with unexpected gratitude. The harp is small. It fits in a lap. The music is a way of naming. You can use the image too. Imagine yourself with a small instrument. You make a sound. It is not required to be beautiful. The sound only needs to be true. Job sits by a heap of dust. He recognizes the shape of loss. He sits and names the bleakness plainly. He does not hide. In the naming comes traction. Speaking the truth about pain is a way to move it from the quiet corners where it gnaws. It becomes a thing that can be tended. Naming is not a cure. It is a beginning. I invite a gentle practice. This is short and quiet. Close your eyes if that feels safe. Breathe in for 4 counts. Hold for 2. Breathe out for 6. Repeat twice. With each in-breath, picture a single word. It might be heard. Weariness or longing. With each out-breath, imagine placing that word on the page of the Bible beside you. Let the word be small and honest. The act is practical. It moves worry from the mind to a place that is present, tangible, and tended. The Bible holds such words well. It is not shocked by the bluntness. It has seen louder grief and quieter shame. When you place a small word on the page, you are practicing a habit that David and Job knew. Bringing things into light changes how you carry them. The weight remains, but the hand that holds it softens. There is comfort in the company of these ancient voices because they show failure and mercy together. David stumbles. He makes choices that bruise others and himself. He mourns. He seeks repair. The story is not a tale of flawless heroes. It is a record of human life with its blunders and its remedies. The remedy is not always immediate. Sometimes it is a long, patient tending. Often, it starts with a single sentence spoken squarely before the lamp. If loneliness presses at your ribs, listen to David's honesty. He names the loneliness. He imagines God as a shepherd walking beside him. The shepherd image is not a metaphor far removed from human need. It is the picture of someone who walks in the dark with another person at their side. You can carry that image tonight. Picture a steady footstep beside your own. You do not have to rush toward answers. You only need to notice the presence. If the world feels unfair and questions rise like hard stones, listen with Job. Job's speech is blunt. He does not perform. He lays out his questions plainly. Sometimes answers do not arrive. Sometimes the company does. That company is enough to hold a human life while waiting. It is okay to wait without neat resolution. The story shows that waiting does not make a person less faithful. I guide a small exercise for the chest. Place both hands lightly on the sternum. Breathe slowly. Feel the rise beneath your palms. On each out-breath, whisper one honest phrase to yourself. It may be small. This is hard. I am tired. I do not know. Use no more than 3 words. The whisper is not a sermon. It is a fact, repeated 3 times. Let the hands witness the truth. Let the breath steady the admission. The act is healing in its simplicity. The narratives I read are not meant to push you into action. They are a mirror. They reflect how real people cope. They hold space for tears. They allow room for a small, stubborn trust. That trust looks less like certainty and more like a companion who keeps a candle lit while you speak. Do not think these stories demand a tidy prayer. They model a different posture. They teach endurance and honesty. When you feel shame about your feelings, notice how David and Job both hold brokenness with dignity. They do not perform. They do not pretend. This is quiet permission for our own nights. If you have been hiding aches to be acceptable, these stories invite you to be human instead. There is a practical ritual I suggest now. Keep a thin scrap of paper and a pen by the lamp. If a heavy thought wakes you in the middle of the night, write a single line. Keep it short. Fold it and place it within the book or beside the Bible. In the morning you may look, or you may leave it. The action of writing helps the nervous system give a thing a boundary. It turns a rumination into an object. That object is easier to tend. I read again from the lives of those who know hard company. I notice the tenderness that moves through their songs and speeches. They are not sentimental. They are honest. They are patient enough to hold their own contradictions. That patience is a model. It teaches us to be gentle with ourselves. If anger rises, be gentle with it. Anger is often a shape of grief. Let it be named once without wearing it as a badge. If shame presses, look at the stories and see how flawed people live onward. If betrayal stings, remember that the psalmists and Job kept speaking even when trust and systems crumbled. Their speech is a practice. You can practice it too. I sometimes imagine a small lamp for these nights. It is not bright. It is not grand. It is a bedside light, low and steady. Place the book beside it. Let the lamp be witness. The lamp makes a small circle of warmth. In that circle, stories can be told without fear of being swallowed. You can tell the truth and then set it down. The lamp also suggests hospitality. It invites the same gentle steadiness into the dark. There is also a humility in these narratives. The people in them are less examples of moral perfection and more companions on the road. They stumble, they get up. Sometimes they rest for a while. Sometimes they sing. Sometimes they wrestle and go silent. All of those ways are honest. None is disqualifying. Each is part of a human life that moves toward a secret steadiness that is larger than the self. If you catch yourself thinking that your trouble is unique and therefore unbearable, remember their commonness. Whole communities of human hearts have walked similar paths. That thought should not minimize pain. It should allow for company. You are not isolated in your heaviness. Others have known it and still kept breathing. That is a quiet hope that does not demand sudden joy. I keep the reading slow. I let silence fill the space between lines. In that silence, feel the presence of those ancient voices. Let them sit with you. Let their names and their images be companions as the night deepens. You are allowed to be honest. You are allowed to be tired. You are allowed to hold questions without neat answers. One small ritual to close this part. Fold your hands over the book for a moment. Press them lightly. Take 3 deep breaths. On the last exhale, imagine setting one heavy thing onto the open page. It stays there for now. You do not have to pick it up until morning. The book and the night will hold it along with you. I place the book back in my lap. The lamp keeps its steady circle. The stories of David and Job remain like 2 steady beams. They do not solve. They accompany. They make a kind of room for a human heart to be both broken and brave. As we move on, carry that room with you. Sleep in it if needed. Rest in the honest voice of those who walked long nights before us. When you are ready, let the breath slow even more. Keep one small, true word in the mind. Let it be a companion until morning. The next passage will come when the time is right. For now, let these ancient voices keep their watch with the lamp, and let the night hold you gently. I turn the page with a careful hand. The lamp keeps its circle of light. The Bible rests warm in my lap. Tonight I linger on a simple instruction that sits like a soft command. Do not be anxious about anything. Instead, bring every need and worry, every small hope, into the still place of prayer. I do not make the rule heavy. I read it as an invitation to practice a slower way of living. Prayer here is not a list of demands. It is not a hurried recitation before sleep. It is a steady habit. It is the slow motion of coming into presence. The posture is plain. Sit, breathe, name, listen. The act of naming ties the loose ends of the day into a single thread. That thread connects the heart to something larger than the moment. It becomes a bridge, not a burden. I say the verse again in quiet paraphrase. Do not be anxious. In every situation, bring your requests. The line holds 2 simple movements. Stop the spinning worry. Then, with a clear hand, present the need. The first move is honest. The second move trusts. Both moves are small actions. Both can be practiced tonight. Prayer strengthens the bond like a gentle reharnessing of the heart. Imagine a cord threaded through a series of small rings. Each knot draws the cord closer. Prayer is that threading. Each word ties the heart into the larger fabric of presence. Over time, the cord thickens. The distance between breath and trust lessens. The nervous system notices. It relaxes by degrees. The quiet work of prayer includes speaking and listening. Many expect only talking, yet listening is part of the practice. Silence is not emptiness here. It is a presence that receives what is spoken. I guide the listening as gently as the speaking. Breathing becomes the ear. A long exhale is a way of saying, I have offered this. Now I will stay still and wait. A short practice helps make the movements tangible. Place the book on the lap. Fold the hands. Palms open if that feels right. Let the shoulders drop. Inhale 4 counts. Hold 2. Exhale 6. Repeat once. With the third in-breath, choose one small thing to name. It can be a worry, an ache, a wish. Keep the sentence brief. No more than 3 or 4 words. Say it inside the chest. Quietly. As a fact. Then let the breath carry it away without pushing for an answer. I offer a physical ritual for offering requests that is unobtrusive and calm. Take a simple piece of string. It can be a shoelace or a ribbon. Keep it by the lamp. Each named need becomes a knot on the string. Tie 1 knot and name it silently. The knot is not a charm. It is a witness. Place the knotted string beside the Bible when finished. The string is a small ledger of the night. It holds the shape of what has been laid down. This knot practice is practical for nervous hands. It guards against endless mental looping. The hands do something steady, while the mind stops rewriting the worry into different forms. When the mind returns to the same thought, the fingers find the next knot and place it where it belongs. The movement is calming. It trains the body to stop taking the thought into the same anxious rehearsal. Prayer also brings permission to be incomplete. It does not require a tidy list of virtues. It meets rawness. The posture is not perfectionism. The voice is not performance. Bring fear as it is. Bring doubt as it is. Bring tiredness and small joys. Present them without long defense. The act of presenting is itself an answer to unease. It shifts energy from internal wrestling into a steady act of offering. I sometimes invite a written practice too. For nights when the head is loud, keep a small notebook near the lamp. Write 1 sentence toward the end of the page. Keep it short, a name. A need. A thank you. Fold the page and slide it into the back cover or tuck it beneath the Bible. The paper becomes a physical signpost. This matter has been named and placed somewhere safe. The body recognizes the act. It relaxes in response. Prayer is communal in its reach, even when it is solo in practice. When a request is spoken into the hush, it enters into a tradition of many hearts who do the same. That realization is a quiet comfort. It loosens the isolation of private fear. Knowing others have whispered similar things into the dark makes the action less strange and more ordinary. It becomes a shared posture across time. Listening to the quiet may bring images, or songs, or a single line that revisits. Allow that. These responses are small graces. They are not always answers to questions. They are more like touchstones, a soft phrase, a remembered kindness. a simple image that steadies. Keep the reception gentle. Let whatever comes rest without being forced into explanation or proof. The verse that begins this part pairs the act of presenting requests with a fruit that follows peace. The promise is not framed as a fast transaction. Peace often arrives slowly. It is like the steady tide easing a stone into the sand. The offering of a prayer alters the way the body holds the situation. The chest unclenches. The scalp softens. Sleep becomes more possible. These are practical effects worth noticing. Try a brief listening practice now. After naming the request and making the knot or writing the line, close the eyes for 1 minute. Breathe at a calm pace. Open the awareness to sound the lamp's low hum. A distant car. The creak of the house settling. Let those sounds be company. Then turn attention inward and notice the place where the heart holds the named need. See whether that place feels a degree softer than a moment ago. Do not demand a change. Observe with a kind attention. Prayer in the night does not always change the situation. Sometimes it changes the person who prays. The small courage to come into presence alters posture. The same weight may remain. The person carrying it finds a steadier way to carry. That steadiness is the kind of strength this practice builds. It is not a sudden rescue. It is patient fortification. There is room for brief breath prayers, for those whose thoughts scatter. These are short phrases spoken inwardly on the rhythm of the breath. They need no flourish. Examples might be a single word like peace, help, hold, or light. Inhale silently the word. Exhale and rest. Repeat 5 times. The repetition is not a chant to force feeling. It is a paced tether. It slows thinking enough to allow the heart to be noticed and the presence to feel near. Sometimes prayer is a quiet handing over of tomorrow. A practical step helps here. Imagine a small wooden tray on the bedside table. Place the day's worries on the tray, one by one the meeting, the conversation, the health appointment. Label each worry with a single name or short phrase. When the tray is full, fold the hands over the Bible and imagine placing the tray into the book, under its weight, as if the pages can hold it overnight. This image teaches a mind to leave certain things for morning and not argue them all night long. There are nights when gratitude is the opening for prayer. It does not have to be grand. A single thing will do. The taste of tea, a voice that called, a small kindness received. Pick one and let it bloom in the chest for 3 slow breaths. Naming gratitude is also presenting something to the inner life. It rebalances the scale, not by ignoring trouble, but by widening the view of what holds value. Prayer as a pillar of strength also includes consistent small rhythms. Make tiny rituals that fit the life. That rhythm could be a knot each night, a single written line, a breath prayer in the middle of the day, or a short moment of listening upon waking. Consistency trains trust. It gives a muscle memory for returning to presence rather than spinning into anxiety. When the chest remains tight, set a boundary around worrying time. Choose a brief window, 3 minutes, 5 at most, where anxieties can be presented. Use the knot or the written line. When the time ends, close the cover of the notebook or fold the string into a drawer. This discipline is not avoidance. It is wiser use of attention. It teaches the mind that worry has a place and time, not free rein all night. I read the verse again in a low voice. Simply, do not be anxious, but bring your needs. The phrase acts like a small lamp in the parlor of the mind. It is enough to change one habit tonight. Choose to present one thing now rather than rehearse every worry again. Practice makes the new bare action easier next time. If listening feels difficult, use a short guided pause. Breathe in for 4 counts. Count 2 on the hold. Exhale for 6. Name a single request silently on the last breath. Then sit in 2 minutes of quiet presence. Palms open or resting. No more work, just resting in the act of bringing. The act itself carries a kind of prayerful peace. As I finish this portion, I place a finger lightly on the margin of the page. The knot practice lies near the lamp in this room. The small string collects tonight's named needs like tiny beads on a thread. The Bible, lamp, and string make a small altar of ordinary things. It is not ornate. It does not promise to make troubles vanish. It promises a way to hold them differently. If sleep calls, let it come. If waking hours remain, keep the knot and the notebook nearby. Use them as needed. Practice a short breath prayer in the dark. Name a single need and let the act of presenting be its own easing. Over time, the habit deepens the bond. It trains the heart to move from anxious spinning into a quieter, steadier presence. I close the book slowly and rest both hands on the cover. The lamp keeps its steady glow. The string and the notebook sit by its light. Tonight, the simple act of presenting is our work. The evening teaches that prayer is not a last resort, but a daily way to tie the heart to peace. Keep the string near. Keep the breath measured. Rest, now, and let the small practice hold the night. I open the page slowly. The lamp makes a small circle of light. The night sits soft beyond the window. My voice comes low. I read a line that has steadied many feet. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you. I do not rush the words. I let them fall like a gentle hand on the shoulder. The promise is simple. It names a truth that does not depend on emotion. It does not deny the tremor in the chest or the knot in the throat. It simply offers a companion for whatever is real tonight. Imagine that companion as someone who walks with you in the dark, without insisting the darkness vanish first. This is the tone I keep as I speak. I do not treat courage like absence of fear. Courage often looks like small, steady steps taken while the heart still trembles. It looks like a breath drawn before a difficult conversation. It looks like turning the key in a lock despite the shaking in the fingers. The promise gives a companion for those steps. The courage it offers is practical. It steadies, not perfects. Sit with that for a moment. Lay a hand on the Bible if you like. Feel the grain of the cover. Let the touch be an anchor. The physical presence of the book can be a small reminder that words have weight. They have been read in many rooms, by many hands. They have traveled long nights. Let that thought settle in, not as proof, but as company. Breathe with me now. Inhale quietly for 4 counts. Hold for 2. Exhale slowly for 6 counts. Repeat twice more. With each out-breath, imagine a thin cord being tightened gently around the heart. The cord is not a chain. It is a tether that keeps the chest near to a steady presence. The tether does not remove trouble. It alters how the trouble is carried. Bring to mind one small fear. Keep it brief. A single phrase will do. Maybe it is about tomorrow's meeting. Maybe it is about the ache that has woken you often. Name it in the heart and set it on the page mentally. You are not discarding the thing. You are simply offering it a place to rest for now. The promise I read stands under that offering like a steady bench. The promise feels like a trail marker on a mountain path. It does not flatten the climb. It tells you, again, that you are not alone on the trail. The marker points to company ahead. The idea of being accompanied shifts a posture in the body. Shoulders drop a fraction. The neck lets go a little. That small easing is itself a mercy. I will speak about the word everlasting in a practical way. Everlasting here means steady across seasons. It means the presence has not grown tired of walking. It is not a fire that burns bright and then gutters. It is a lamp kept tended. When storms come, the lamp stays alight. When fog gathers, the lamp's beam still shows a narrow way. Do not press for total clarity. Let the lamp do its patient work. Courage is learned by repetition. It is not a single heroic act. It is a series of modest trimmings of fear. Picture a small child learning to ride. The first attempts are wobbly. Each steady hand beside the seat is a promise kept. Eventually balance arrives because the child had company while learning. The promise I read is that patient company. There are nights when the heart is worn thin by years, not by a single day. For those seasons, the promise moves slow and quiet. It will not demand that old grief be fast-forwarded into healing. It offers the steady presence that can sit with the long ache. Presence does not hurry sorrow. Presence keeps vigil. Let that vigil be enough tonight. If doubt rises and asks for proof, answer it with a small practice instead of a debate. Place a finger at the edge of the page and trace the margin. Feel the slight bump where the paper meets. The tiny motion grounds the hand. The hand calms the shoulder. The shoulder loosens the jaw. The body notices these small sequences faster than the mind persuades itself. This is practical faith. I often imagine promises as a row of stones laid by a steady gardener. The gardener places one stone at a time along a path. The job is patient. Over seasons, the path takes shape. The stones do not argue that problems are gone. They simply mark a way forward. If the foot slips, the stones show a place to steady. Keep that image nearby when the steps feel unsure. Companionship has a tone. It is neither loud nor distant. It sounds like a hand by the elbow, more than a speech. It looks like a cloak draped across shoulders when the wind bites. If that image helps, imagine a cloak laid around your neck. It is light. It does not smother. It simply adds warmth where the night nips. When courage is required in the morning light, remember the small acts that began long before dawn. The promise is a rehearsal. Practice can be done in small ways. Say the paraphrase silently. Do not be afraid. Let the phrase be a quiet metronome with the breath. Do not force feeling. Do not expect immediate change. The affirmation trains the nervous system by repetition, not by accusation. A short ritual can be helpful for those hands that wander in sleepless hours. Keep a small object nearby. It might be a pebble, a ring, or a smooth bead. When fear wakes the mind, hold the object for a few breaths. Feel its weight. Name the worry once. Then feel the object as if it takes some of the attention. The object does not carry solutions. It carries your willingness to receive steady presence. The promise I read lives in that willingness. There are times when courage looks like surrender. Surrender here does not mean giving up. It means placing some part of the burden into trustworthy hands. It is not dismissal, but a strategic transfer. A small breath prayer can formalize the transfer. Inhale 5 counts. On the exhale, release the named worry into a wordless space. Repeat once. The heart often notices the shift more than the mind. I also speak about memory. The promise is woven into a history of small, repeated mercies. Think of a morning when something went right unexpectedly. A safe return. A quiet conversation that healed a small misunderstanding. Remember that the world holds such small mercies as well as trials. Those memories are proof of a pattern. They are not wholesale explanations. They are evidence enough to rest the feet for a while. Courage sometimes asks for a witness, if there is someone to call, or a note to write. Choose one small act that reaches outward, a brief text, a short sentence in the margin, a folded note in a drawer. These acts are concrete. They orient movement from inward spiraling to outward connection. The promise of companionship often becomes visible in such small stitches between people. Do not mistake steadiness for blandness. The promise lives in moments of surprise too. A sudden kindness can brighten a long night. A light knock on the door, or a call that arrives. These moments are not the rule, but they can be signs. Keep the heart open to small disruptions of gloom. Let them be hints of the larger companionship that is present, even when small signs do not appear. If anger or fear resist the promise tonight, name the resistance. Do so with a single short phrase. Place that phrase on the page in your mind beside the promise. Then breathe. The act of placing the resistance beside the promise creates a space in which both can exist without crowding. This is practical and not theological. It turns rumination into manageable objects. I will read the verse once more. Slowly and gently. Here again, do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you. Let the cadence settle into the chest. With each word, imagine one small room in the body, letting its windows open. Light moves in. Not all darkness leaves. Light simply finds a way in if sleep begins to arrive. Lit it. The promise does not require full comprehension for the night to do its work. The body repairs and the mind integrates. While you rest, dreams may come as quiet narrations of the day's small acts. Allow them to move as they will. The companion remains beside you through dreaming and waking. If wakefulness stays, keep the lamp low. Return to the breath practice. Place the hand gently over the heart. Feel the soft lift with each inhale. Each lift is a small witness to life and to the promise that walks with it. The breath becomes a rhythm to which courage can learn to move. Before I close this section, make a small plan for the morning. Choose one tiny step that looks brave but possible. Perhaps it is stepping outside for 5 minutes. Perhaps it is making one short call. Detail it lightly in the mind. The plan need not be grand. The promise is not performance-oriented. It supports the smallest forward moves. I lay my thumb on the page. The Hebrew text sits beneath the translation if you look closely. The ancient letters remind me that words travel across long nights. They have comforted other hands in other rooms. That continuity steadies the imagination. You are part of that long company tonight. When I close the book, I do so slowly. The lamp remains lit for a moment. The hush holds both fear and the offer of courage. Rest is permitted. Hope is permitted to be small. Let the verse stay in the room like a quiet guard. Let it be a shape you can reach toward in the dark. I will read again soon. For now, breathe once more with intent. Inhale 4 counts. Hold 2. Exhale 6. Place the hand over the heart. Feel a companionable presence on the other side of the breath. Sleep if it comes. Sit if it does not. Either way, carry this promise gently. You are not alone. And small courage is enough for the steps ahead. I lift the book gently. The room keeps its hush. I rest the spine against my palm. Tonight I read a short verse before we settle. It feels like a slow key turned in a quiet lock. Psalm 4:8 says it plainly, "In peace I lie down and sleep. For you alone make me dwell in safety." I speak it slowly. The words rest on the air like a small, steady stone. Let them land without hurry. Peace is quiet work. It does not shout. It eases one small muscle at a time. I help the body notice those muscles. I do not ask for a big change. I ask only for attention. First, make a small place. This is not a perfect room. It is a tiny inner chamber you can enter with your breath. Picture a low doorway. Pass through it with one slow inhale. Inside, the floor is soft. The light is dim and warm. A cushion waits. Walls are plain and kind. Nothing here demands an answer. This chamber is your sanctuary for the night. Create that sanctuary in the room. 2. If you can, dim the light. Turn a screen away. Fold a blanket so the fabric covers your knees. Put the Bible or a small weight on the nightstand. A single object anchors the space. The body notices small anchors. The mind follows. I invite a simple body scan. Move the attention from the crown of the head to the tips of the toes. Do it slowly. At the crown, feel the scalp loosen. Let the forehead smooth. Soften the cheeks and the jaw. Ease the neck just enough. When the shoulders arrive, tell them aloud in your mind, rest. Let the breath carry that command down through the ribs. Notice the belly. Allow a slight release. Each limb becomes a room with its own light. Breath guides the way in. Try this rhythm. Inhale for 4 counts. Hold for 2. Exhale for 7 counts. The extra length on the out-breath invites the nervous system to slow. I use this breath when sleep seems distant. I use it when thought feels like a wind that will not stop. It is a small tool. Use it more than once, and the night will notice. Scripture sits at the center of this practice. Psalm 4:8 is not a test. It is a gentle promise to hold. Repeat it in the rhythm of the breath. Inhale and think in peace. Hold and think I lie down. Exhale and think and sleep. Let each phrase be soft. No need to prove anything. The repetition becomes a quiet bell. It measures the night. God's love can be imagined in practical, human ways. Picture a coat on a peg in a quiet hallway. Hang a worry on the peg one at a time. The act is practical. It gives shape to the habit of giving. You do not have to fix the worries tonight. You only need to move them to the peg and feel the shoulders relax a little. Another image is a small garden inside the chest. Plant one tiny seed of trust there. It is not a big seed. It is no larger than a coin. Water it with a single breath. The watering is repeated over weeks and months. Do not expect a tree overnight. The seed's work is slow. It changes the soil in small and steady ways. Gentleness with self matters here. The mind often keeps a ledger. It records mistakes in loud ink. Tonight, practice a different accounting. Name one thing you did today that was kind. However small, perhaps a cup poured, a door held, a patient silence. Let that small kindness register in the room of your sanctuary. Give it a place on the low table. Let it be a proof that goodness still moves in your life. If the chest feels tight from old, loud things, try a soft release. Imagine a small drawer beneath the nightstand. Slide in one heavy memory. Close the drawer part way. Do not force it shut. You are not erasing the memory. You are changing how it sits beside you. Returning to it in the morning is possible. For now, give your hands something practical to do. Music can be a tender tool. Choose one quiet melody you can let the lamp hear. Keep the volume low. Let the tune be slow and spare. The right sound acts like a seamstress's hand. It stitches small spaces into calm. If music feels like distraction, use silence instead. Silence, when chosen, is not empty. It is a field where small thoughts land and then pass. Gratitude is also a gentle practice for sleep. I do not ask for grand lists. Choose 3 small things. The steam on a mug, a kind phrase overheard, a small pattern of light on the floor. Say each one softly in the head. Let the chest hold each for 2 breaths. This is not an attempt to dismiss sorrow. It is a way to broaden the view, so the sorrow does not fill the whole room. Words help the night to settle. Choose a short sentence to return to when thinking wanders. It could be as simple as I am kept. I rest here. You might prefer safe to be small. Place that phrase, like a pebble, in the mouth of the river of thoughts. It slows the current. Use touch as a way of softening fear. Lay a hand on the sternum, if that feels right. The contact is like a sign that someone attends. You can press a palm gently where the heart lifts. Feel the heat there. The simple human warmth calms the senses of danger. The body hears that signal and begins to trade alarm for steadiness. Prayer tonight is geared. It is a short handing over. You do not have to make a speech. A single sentence is enough. Say to the room, or only to the breath, one request. Keep it brief. Present it like a small object on a tray. Then let breathing be the act that keeps the tray steady. The practice repeats itself like a gentle machine. The machine does not fix everything. It keeps things in place. If worry returns, do not fight it with force. Name it like a weather report. This is anxious thought. This is fear. Then return to a practice. Use the breath, the phrase, the hand on the heart. Offer the thought, the peg, or the drawer. The mind wants action. Give it a soft action that does not escalate. Restful sleep often needs boundaries. Choose a simple rule for tonight. Perhaps no screens after this reading. Perhaps a 5-minute time to write one line. Then no more. Boundaries are not harsh laws. They are fences that keep wild energy from trampling the garden. They allow tenderness to grow. I read Psalm 4:8 again. Slowly and plainly, in peace, I will lie down and sleep. For you alone make me dwell in safety. Hear the verbs. Lie down and sleep. They are ordinary actions. They require little pomp. They ask only that the body be given permission to be still. Let the verse be a small sentinel at the threshold of dreams. Keep it either on the nightstand or on the breath. Recite it once, or let it repeat, like a bell in the deep. If sleep swells near, allow the verse to go with the closing of the eyes. If wakefulness stays, let the verse be a companion while the lamp is low. Create a tiny ritual to mark the transition. Close the Bible after the verse. Press the thumb to the cover. Breathe once. Fold the hands or place them open on the lap. Say a quiet sentence of blessing for the night. May there be rest. Speak it softly, as if placing a cloth over the room. Care for the body. Adjust the pillow. Smooth the blanket. A practical comfort makes inner calm easier. Cold fingers or a stiff neck make peace thin. Attend to the small needs. There is no vanity in tending the body. It is part of the work of being held. If sleep arrives, lean into it without guilt. Night does its work, even if the mind does not register every hour. The body will fold and repair in its own rhythms. If sleep does not come, do not judge the hour. Stay with one practice and be gentle. The night is wide enough for both wakefulness and rest. I place the book back in my lap for a moment. My voice is low. The lamp keeps its small circle. The sanctuary you create tonight can be simple. It can be a breath, a phrase, a draver, a peg. The tools are modest. They are kind. When it is time to close your eyes, imagine the sanctuary's door eased shut, not locked, not sealed, kept safe. The Psalm's promise stays like a hand on the latch. Sleep is not demanded. It is invited and held. I end this part with an intention. Lay your head down. Breathe slowly. Repeat the verse if you wish. Let peace come as it can. Trust that safety is not a project to finish tonight. It is a presence that walks with you as you rest. I fold the book shut with care. The lamp remains a low witness. I will read again when the hour comes. For now, let the room be quiet. Let the heart learn to dwell in safety. Let sleep do its gentle work. I open the Bible and let the page rest beneath my palm. The lamp spills its small warmth. The room keeps its hush. Tonight I turn towards simple thanks. I move slowly and with gentle care. Gratitude is not a list to finish. It is a posture. It is a soft angle of the heart that looks for small lights. I do not ask for grand feelings. I ask only for noticing. Small things gather into a tenderness that steadies the chest. Begin by breathing. Inhale 4 counts. Hold 2. Exhale 6. Repeat twice. With each breath, invite the eyes to soften. Let the jaw loosen. Allow the shoulders to take one small step downward. The body opens a little. The mind follows. Picture a simple bowl on the table. It is plain. It can be any depth. Tonight it becomes the bowl of blessings. Each small good thing you notice is a pebble to place inside. The pebbles are not trophies. They are markers. They say, this happened. This brightened the day. This was grace. Pick your first pebble now. Name one small blessing. It can be the brief warmth of sunlight on the wrist, a quiet word heard in passing, a cup of something warm that steadied the hands, the breath that kept coming, a face that smiled. Say the name softly in the mind. Place the pebble in the bowl. The Bible I hold has many brief lines that point to this practice. One line tells us to give thanks in all things. That line is not a demand for cheerfulness. It is an invitation to remember the thread of kindness that runs through days. Each small memory is a thread. When tied together, they make a modest rope of comfort. Take a moment to find a second pebble. Look for a quiet mercy you might have missed earlier. Maybe it is a moment when anger did not take over. Maybe it is a short relief from pain. Maybe a clock stopped being loud for a time. Place that pebble in the bowl. Notice how the hand moves. The motion itself calms. There is a gentle alignment that happens when the heart tracks blessings. It does not deny trouble. It simply widens the field of attention. Pas remède visible. But it does not become the only thing seen. This shift is practical. It changes nervous tone. It trains the body to hold hope alongside difficulty. A third pebble helps the rhythm. Choose one more thing, perhaps a small kindness given or received, perhaps a task completed without drama, perhaps a thought that turned away from despair for a minute. Place the pebble in the bowl. Let the gesture be quiet and plain. Now hold the bowl for a breath. Feel the weight of the pebbles. The bowl is modest. The pebbles are simple. Yet together they make an honest weight. The weight tells the story of a day that contained more than the hard parts. Let that fact sit in the chest like a small anchor. I read a verse softly and simply, not to lecture, but to remind every good gift comes. Let the line sink in as an image. Imagine light seeping through a curtain slit. The slit is narrow, but the light is true. It touches objects in the room and reveals them in a different tone. The gifts are like that light. They arrive, sometimes small, sometimes brief, but real. Gratitude works best when it is specific. Ask the mind to pick particulars, instead of a vague phrase like "I had a good day." Choose one precise thing. The taste of tea at noon. Agiet commode, the steadiness of a chair. The exactness makes the noticing believable. The body recognizes specifics more readily than abstractions. If naming feels awkward, try a tactile route. Find 3 small objects near you: a coin, a smooth button, a small stone. Hold each object and think of one small blessing as you touch it. The fingers and the mind together make a bridge. Physical acts anchor feeling more gently than forceful thought. I offer a brief practice of thanksgiving in speechless form. Close the eyes if that feels calm. Breathe in for 4 counts. On the out-breath, imagine saying thank you with your whole body rather than in words. Let the shoulders drop another fraction. Let the mouth soften. Repeat this 3 times. The act of bodily thanks can be more convincing than a string of phrases. Remember that gratitude is practice, not pressure. Some nights it is hard to find even one pebble. That is okay. Begin with a single small fact. Breath was steady for a minute, or the lamp burned without flicker. The single fact is enough to begin the habit. Smallness is permissible. It is often where things grow. The idea of abundance appears here in a quiet way. Abundance is not always fullness. Sometimes it is a pattern of little things that add up. Think of a field of tiny wildflowers instead of a single giant oak. Each flower is modest on its own. Together they make a sweep of color. The bowl of pebbles is like that field. It speaks of quiet abundance. I encourage a small ritual to center this practice. Keep a jar on a bedside table. Each night place a pebble, a folded scrap of paper, or a small mark in the sand of the jar for one blessing. Over weeks, the jar fills. It becomes a visible ledger of grace. When mornings look bleak, the jar is a witness. It remembers what the mind slips from in the dark hours. Gratitude also changes speech. Listen to the tone of inner phrases. When the mind says, "I am overwhelmed," try softening it with a short addition. "And I noticed a small kindness today." The sentence does not erase the weight. It places a softer note beside it. Language shifts feeling because it redirects attention. If bitterness or complaint surfaces, do not silence it harshly. Hear it once, and then turn the mind back toward a small gratitude. The practice is not a denial of pain. It is a gentle reallocation of energy. Think of a flame carried across a room. You do not snuff the darkness. You bring a lamp near. The lamp does not nullify night. It changes what the eye can see. For those whose hands like to work while listening, a small craft helps. Thread 3 beads onto a string as you name the 3 blessings, not the string, and keep it near the Bible. Over time, the strings accumulate into a modest garland of notice. Physical acts of attention are healing. They teach rest through repeated 10 emotion. Gratitude also opens an inward door to praise. Praise is not an obligation. It is an honest naming of good. It can be as small as a whisper or as quiet as a thought. Praise roots the heart in a larger story of receiving. It reminds the chest that not everything good comes from effort alone. Many gentle gifts are given freely. Part of reflecting on daily blessings is learning to see them as signs of a presence that cares. This way of seeing is not a crude proof. It is a habit of the imagination. It aligns the heart with grace without making demands of proof. Picture a line of lamp posts on a foggy lane. Each light is small. Together they lead the way. The lights are not dramatic. They are steady. Let the blessings be those lights. A short gratitude prayer can close this portion. It needs no flourish. A single sentence in the heart suffices. Thank you for this small mercy. Repeat the sentence slowly 3 times. Let each repetition slow the system. Keep the tone plain. Do not seek feeling as a test. The practice is a possession to return to when nights are harsh. I read a brief line from Scripture in paraphrase. To hold the practice in place, give thanks in all seasons. For there is a gentle hand in the midst of daily things. Hear the line like a bell that rings once and then quiets. The bell is not a trumpet. It is a simple reminder to look for small lights. After the practice, place the bowl or the jar near the lamp. Let the pebbles sleep. They are not extravagant. They are honest. In the morning, they will be small proofs that quiet things did happen. They will make the day less hungry for instant triumph. Before moving on, take 3 slow breaths. On the first in-breath, invite the memory of one blessing into the chest. On the second, let gratitude fill the ribs like soft air. On the third, let a sentence form for the night. My heart is held. Keep the sentence short and gentle. If rest comes now, allow it with no guilt. Let the bowl rest on the table and the lamp keep watch. If wakefulness stays, keep the small practice nearby. Return to the bowl, the jar, the string. Notice one small thing at a time. The habit is patient. It does not demand perfection. I close this section with intention. The work of gratitude is a companion to rest. It does not remove sorrow. It widens the room where sorrow sits. It makes space for small mercies to be seen, tracked, and kept. Let tonight be a night of finding pebbles. When ready, place the Bible on the lap for a moment. Rest both hands on its cover. Feel the weight. Imagine the small lamp of blessings inside the heart. Keep it near. Let it guide towards sleep. In a little while, we will turn the page and move toward a quiet blessing that will close this portion of the night. For now, let gratitude steady the breath and soften the shoulders. Rest here, gently, and hold the pebbles until morning. I settle with the book in my lap. The lamplight is steady and low. I move slowly tonight. On purpose, the aim is to teach a quiet practice. It is a way to place the day down before sleep. Begin with breath. Breathe in calm. Breathe out what tugs at the mind. Make the breath simple and even. Let the ribs soften. Let the shoulders loosen. The body is the instrument by which the mind notices mercy. I ask you to gather one thing, the single worry that sits heaviest right now. It need not be the largest fear in life. Choose the one that keeps visiting this evening. Name it only softly in your head. Keep the phrase small. A few words are enough. I offer a new image to hold that worry. Picture à l'eau. Wide shelf that runs along the back of the night. It is not high nor ornate. It is plain wood. On the shelf sits a gentle cloud. The cloud looks like cotton, like washed wool. It holds light without collapsing. It does not judge. It is made to carry weight. Now imagine taking the chosen worry and folding it into a small, thin paper. The paper is a practical thing. You write nothing if words feel too loud. Merely imagine the shape of the worry as a folded square. See it in your mind's hand. Feel its edges. Give it a simple size so it can be held. With the next slow breath, picture placing that folded paper on the cloud. Lay it gently. The cloud accepts it without making a fuss. It does not flinch. It gathers the paper into its soft center. The act itself is like setting a small cup on a windowsill. The movement is clear and simple. I let the next step be a transformation. Imagine the cloud as having hands made of soft mist. Those mist hands lift the paper. They do not crumple it. They smooth it with an unhurried caress. Then, slow and sure, the hands begin to alter the paper's texture. The worry does not disappear. It changes form. Heavy edges become rounded. Sharp points become a gentle sheen. The paper grows lighter and thinner. The cloud breathes. Anxiety loosens like a knot being teased apart by patient fingers. This is not magic. It is a visual practice that invites a different posture toward a worry. The body will notice the shift. Muscles that tightened around the thought can relax because they see an outward act of giving. The mind sees the paper being held rather than endlessly replayed. Use the breath as a companion in this work. Inhale slowly for 4 counts. Hold for 2. Exhale for 7 counts. On the exhale, imagine the cloud drawing the paper inward and turning it into a pale ribbon of light. Repeat the pattern 2 or 3 times. With each exhale, the ribbon becomes thinner. Calmer. The rib cage hears the change. It responds with a softer lift. If your hands are restless, give them a gentle task. Fold an actual scrap of paper if that helps. Write the worry with a quiet line. Or just touch the paper's edge. Place it on a shelf. Or slide it beneath the closed Bible for the night. The physical action confirms the mental offering. It roots the visualization in the world of touch. I suggest another small frame. Think of the cloud as a messenger. It does not flee the worry away to a place you cannot reach. It holds and tends. Picture the ribbon of light circling within the cloud and radiating a faint warmth like a porch light in fog. That warmth is the change. Anxiety is not erased. It is reshaped into something that can sit beside you without making the chest seize. Now gently imagine handing more than one small paper over to the cloud. Name 2 or 3 lesser worries. Each one becomes a slip placed on the soft surface. The cloud receives them in sequence. It rearranges as it holds. it does not throw them off. It keeps them in a slow, careful order. This scene teaches a rhythm. Give pause, breathe, trust the holding. If other images come, accept them without debate. Some will be helpful. Some will be merely passing clouds in the mind. Notice them like weather. Do not force them to form into proof. Let them be what they are. I say this plainly. Giving a worry to God in this image is not an abdication of care. It is a practical act of trust that returns energy to the body. It allows the hands and ribs and sleep waves to do their work. The day's tasks can be met again in the morning with fresher attention, because the night was used to release a load. There is a gentle way to name God in this practice, for those who find words useful. Picture the cloud resting on a broad palm, held close to a steady chest. This palm is patient. It neither scolds nor panics. It rearranges the papers the way a neighbor might fold laundry, methodical, reverent, kind. The palm's steadiness reassures the hands that place the papers down. Allow the thought that God's care reshapes the worry. It changes the shape of anxiety from a sharp, tight object into a soft thing that will not pry open the ribs at night. The transformation is not immediate for all worries. Many of them require repeated placement on the cloud. Think of the practice as a nightly habit, rather than a dramatic overhaul. I guide a brief closing ritual for tonight. After the cloud practice, rest both palms lightly over the sternum. Feel the slight rise and the soft warmth. With eyes closed, say one short sentence of handing over. It can be as simple as I lay this down. There is no need to proclaim it aloud. The sentence is a private work. Speak it once and let the silence that follows be the container. Place the book gently beside you. Keep the mind's shelf in mind as you lie back. The cloud remains there. It holds the papers. In the morning, the cloud's light may seem to have faded. That is fine. The habit is what matters. When the sun returns, look at the day with gentler eyes. The spirit is less bruised when a burden has been given to steady hands. Now, a short morning practice pairs with the night's work. On waking, before the rush begins, pause for a breath. Open the curtains a little and let the air enter. Picture the light, catching the ribbon of half-transformed worries on the shelf and warming them further. One by one, take the slips into the palms of waking attentiveness. See which one asks for action today and which can remain tended by the cloud for a while longer. This keeps effort focused and prevents anxiety from leaping immediately back into full force. Begin the day with one small intention. It should be modest. Perhaps it is to drink a glass of water, or to sit with a single task for 10 minutes. The renewed spirit that comes from nightly handing over will not fix everything at once, but it will allow presence to meet the morning with steadier steps. Each small intention is a brush stroke in a longer painting of renewal. If a morning task requires courage, return briefly to the cloud image and its mist hands. Remember that the heavy part was placed into patient keeping. Approach the task with a lighter chest. The practice links night and day with a quiet continuity. The night's ritual does not negate the day. It prepares the heart to meet it with care. I will offer one more small tool for restless minds. Keep a narrow ribbon or a thin scarf on the bedside table. When worry returns in the night, hold the ribbon and loop it once around the middle finger. The loop is simple. It is a tactile knot that marks the act of returning a thought to the cloud. The body notices the loop. The motion interrupts the spiral of rumination without drama. Let the ribbon be a friendly signal to the hands and to the lungs. Give again. Breathe. Rest. As I speak these words, my voice stays soft. The book is present. The practice is practical and repetitive. It invites the body to learn a new way of carrying the mind's burdens. Close the eyes, if that helps. Take 3 slow breaths. Imagine a cloud shelf at the back of the night. Place the single worry on it. Watch the mist hands turn the paper into a ribbon of light. Feel the shoulders release a fraction. Take the morning intention in the mind. Keep the ribbon near the waking self. When sleep comes, let it carry the practice with it. Trust that the cloud watches and arranges. Trust that the hands underneath are steady. You do not have to fix everything before rest. This discipline of giving is itself an act of care. I close the book now with a quiet hand. The lamp keeps its low circle. The shelf of the night sits in the mind like a promise. Use the brown ribbon by the bedside if it helps. Return to the cloud when worry visits again. Start the morning with a small, steady intention. Let the spirit be renewed a little each day by the odd, faithful work of handing over. Rest now. Let the shelf hold tonight's papers. Sleep will come, and the day will begin again. The practice is patient. The hands that receive are patient too. Keep this small ritual near. It will meet tomorrow with a gentler heart. I close the book and let the cover rest in my hands for a long breath. The lamp keeps its small circle. The room hums like a slow instrument. I sit with the quiet. I let the weight of the evening settle into my palms. This moment is an ending that is also a beginning. It marks a gentle shift. The day slows. The mind loosens. The chest finds a slower rhythm. I speak to you now in a voice that aims only for calm. The words are a small escort toward rest. First, as simple pause, breathe with me. Inhale for 4 counts. Hold for 2. Exhale for 8. Do this 3 times. With each out-breath, let a small motion of relief move through the shoulders. Let the jaw loosen. Let the eyelids soften. The breath is the bridge between the noisy day and a night that keeps watch. I place my hand over the Bible for a moment. The book has been our companion. It has held songs and laments, invitations and promises. It has been a lamp and also a table where we put our pebbles and notes. Tonight, it rests as a witness. The act of closing it is an act of trust. The words do not vanish when the cover shuts. They nestle into the room like embers, kept warm. Now, I offer a short blessing. Listen with the ears of your heart. Hear not as a test, but as a shelter. May the night find you gentle. May your breathing slow like a quiet river. May bones that held burdens relax into the bed. May the mind be given room to stop rehearsing. May the small mercies of the day linger as soft light. I speak these lines plainly. They are not promises of instant cures. They are openings. They invite the body and the soul into a shape of care that can take overnight to deepen. I will pray for you now. Keep your hands where they feel steady. If a single phrase helps, hold it like a small stone. You may repeat it silently. You may keep your eyes closed. The prayer is spare and slow. Gentle God, I bring this quiet room before you. I lay down the thin lists and the sharp worries. I set the heavy things upon your patient hands. Be close in the small hours. Steady the heart that drifts and the mind that wanders. Let rest arrive like a careful guest. Keep watch in the way that refuses to hurry. Hold the sleeper in a kindness that does not demand explanation. Amen. The prayer is not loud. It is not ornate. It is a hand placed on the shoulder of the night. Let this spoken offering be an active presence. Let it be a hinge that swings the door from anxious thinking to the quiet watching of sleep. I invite a small practice to seal the hour. Place a palm over the sternum. Feel the soft lift beneath it. Imagine a small, slow light glowing there. It is warm, but not bright. Breathe toward that light. Each inhale draws it one shade fuller. Each exhale spreads a slow warmth across the ribs. Think of that light as the feeling of being tended. Let it remind you that you are not alone. Carry with you one image into sleep. Choose what resonates. Maybe it is the cloud shelf where worries were placed. Maybe it is the bowl of pebbles that keeps a record of small kindnesses. Maybe it is the lamp whose beam makes a narrow way. Use only one image so the mind has a single, steady companion. Let that image return in the dream as a quiet motif, a repeated grace. If fear or unrest visits as you drift, meet them with a single sentence in the chest. Keep it short. Examples: you are kept. You are not alone. You are held. Say it like a stitch, not a speech. Repeat it as the breath asks you to. The sentence is a small rule for the night. It interrupts the rehearsal of worry without requiring argument. I also invite you to give permission to sleep. Many make sleep a test. They press to perform rest. Tonight, let permission be the act. It goes like this. Choose to let go for 1 hour. Give the hour over without demands. If sleep comes, welcome it. If wakefulness stays, let the hour be soft and quiet and free of self-judgment. Practice this kindness again if needed. There are practical things to tend that help the heart accept rest. Smooth the blanket lightly. Adjust the pillow. Turn the face towards a small source of warmth. Put a hand on the bedside table where the Bible or a small token can be reached. The body recognizes care. The muscles that feel safe enough to relax are quicker to do so. Know this small truth. Plainly, you are never outside of care, whether the word used is God, love, presence, or some other gentle name. There is a holding that does not fade because nights are long. This holding does not remove the facts of the day. It simply refuses to let you carry alone what is too heavy. I give one more short benediction. Slow and soft, a closing stitch for the evening. May mercy attend your dreams. May the small lights of the heart burn steady. May your waking be gentle and less hurried. May you wake with a hand that can steady another if needed, and until morning comes. May you know you are kept. Say the benediction once in your mind. Let it land in the chest like a warm pebble. Keep the sound of it close rather than far. There is power in quiet repetition. It trains the nervous system to accept tenderness. Before the last page closes, make a small plan for the morning. Nothing heavy. One tiny intention. Perhaps a drink of water first thing. A step onto the porch. A 5-minute pause with a cup. The plan is a bridge. It connects the care you accept tonight to the actions you will take tomorrow. The bridge is short. It need not carry everything. It only needs to hold the next right step. If sleep arrives as a soft tide, lead it. If it does not, remain kind. Keep breathing. Keep one small phrase near the heart. Return to the cloud shelf, to the pebble bowl, to the lamp, or to the ribbon, whichever image you chose. They will be patient. The night holds many rooms. I close the book now with care. The cover meets my palms. The lamp makes one small shadow on the table. I straighten the spine and tuck the book gently beside me. The room stays quiet and kind. The door between wakefulness and sleeping breath stands open enough to let rest pass through. Go now into the night. Carry the feeling of being loved. Carry the sense of being watched over in the gentlest way. Let those feelings thread into your dreams. Know, in a soft and steady way, that you are not forsaken. You are kept. Sleep well. I will be here again when the evening calls. The lamp will be ready. The book will open. For now, let rest do its work.